As talks between North Korea and the U.S. accelerate in New York, Singapore, and at the DMZ, making progress towards potentially a successful meeting between the North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and U.S. President Donald Trump, South Korea's top office remains cautious, keeping a watchful eye. Our chief China correspondent Moon Connyoung fills us in.
북미 정상회담이 성공할 경우에 남북미 3자 정상회담을 통해서 종전 선언이 추진되었으면 좋겠다라는 기대를 가지고 있습니다.
By hostilities, South Korean President Moon Jae-in speaking to the media about his unannounced face-to-face with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un the day before was referring to the Korean War that ceased in 1953 with an armistice, not a peace treaty. South Korea's Blue House remained cautious on Friday as they kept a watchful eye on how pre-summit discussions between North Korea and the U.S. unfold to gauge whether a three-way summit would be plausible in Singapore in 2 weeks' time. Wrapping up his two-day meeting with Kim Young-chul, vice chairman of North Korea's ruling Workers' Party Central Committee and one of Kim Jong-un's most trusted aides, U.S. Secretary of State Pompeo said he was confident talks were moving in the right direction.
I've been very clear that President Trump and the United States' objective is very consistent and well known: the complete, verifiable, and irreversible denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. If these talks are successful, it will truly be historic. It will take bold leadership from Chairman Kim Jong-un. They'll have to choose a path that is fundamentally different than the one that their country has proceeded on for decades.
Mike Pompeo, who's met Kim Jong-un a few times in Pyongyang, said he's had many conversations with the North Koreans about how North Korea and the U.S. can achieve the denuclearization that the world demands of the North and the security assurances that will be required for them to allow the U.S. to achieve that.
Vice Chairman Kim Jong-chul is now planning to travel to Washington to deliver a personal letter from Chairman Kim Jong-un.
Even so, the U.S. president on Thursday said this when asked about his expected meeting with the North Korean leader.
Hopefully we'll have a meeting on the 12th that's going along very well, but I want it to be meaningful. It doesn't mean it gets all done at one meeting. Maybe you have to have a second or a third, and maybe we'll have none.
So, although there has been positive progress after twists and turns in a whirlwind of diplomacy this past week, never say never and just ain't over until it is over. Which is why Seoul's top office remains low-key, saying the focus now should solely be on North Korea and the U.S. and their nuclear deal, and that a three-way meeting would only materialize after a successful Kim-Trump summit and with their support. Moon Connyoung, Arirang News, The Blue House.